Lesson 1: Tracing Diverse Immigrant Journeys.
Hey Anna, I was just reading about the history of immigration to different countries. It's really fascinating stuff.
Oh, that's a great topic. Immigration has certainly shaped the cultural landscapes of many nations throughout history.
Absolutely. For example, did you know that many prominent surnames in Britain can be traced back to the Norman invasion of 1066?
Really? I didn't realize so many families have roots that go back that far. What kind of surnames are we talking about?
Well, names like Fitzpatrick, Fitzjohn, and Fitzroy, they all indicate Norman French ancestry from when William the Conqueror came to Britain.
Wow, that's so interesting. I never knew the origins of those kinds of names. It's amazing how immigration can leave such a lasting legacy.
Definitely. And it's not just the UK, immigration has played a huge role in shaping the identity of other countries too.
That's a great point. For instance, in Australia, many of the most prominent families actually have roots in other parts of the world.
Really? I didn't realize that. What are some examples of immigrant groups that have had a big influence in Australia?
Well, a lot of the early European settlers in Australia were actually convicts transported from Britain in the 18th and 19th centuries.
Ah, I see. So those forced immigrants ended up becoming part of the foundation of Australian society.
Exactly. And later on, there were major waves of immigration from places like Greece, Italy, and Eastern Europe as well.
Fascinating. It just goes to show how diverse and multicultural the origins of a country's population can be.
Definitely. Immigration is such a complex and fascinating part of global history. There's always more to learn.
I agree. This has been a really interesting discussion. It's amazing to think about how much immigration has shaped the world around us.
Lesson 2: Navigating the next steps in the hiring process.
Hey Anna, I wanted to touch base with you about the next steps in the hiring process for that role we discussed.
Ah, yes, the job opportunity you applied for. I'm happy to provide some more details on what to expect going forward.
Great, I really appreciate you taking the time to walk me through it. I'm feeling eager to move things along.
Absolutely, let me break down the next stages for you. First up, we'll be scheduling a phone screening with the hiring manager.
A phone screening, got it. And what can I expect from that initial conversation?
The main goal will be for the manager to get to know you better and assess your qualifications for the role.
Okay, that makes sense. Should I prepare anything specific for the phone interview?
Yes, I'd recommend having your resume handy, as well as being ready to discuss your relevant skills and experience.
Awesome, that's really helpful to know. What happens if I successfully make it through the phone screening?
Great question. If the manager is impressed, the next step would be an in-person interview, likely with the full hiring team.
I see, an in-person interview with the team. What should I anticipate for that part of the process?
For the in-person, you can expect a more in-depth discussion of your background, as well as some potential skills assessments.
Skills assessments, got it. Is there anything specific I should bring with me to that interview?
I'd suggest bringing copies of your resume, as well as any relevant work samples or portfolio pieces.
Excellent, that's really helpful to know. And what's the typical timeline for moving through those next stages?
Well, the hiring manager will do their best to move things along efficiently. But I'd recommend allowing 2 to 3 weeks from the phone screen to the in-person.
Okay, that gives me a good sense of the pace. And after the in-person interview, what's the final step?
The final stage would be any additional interviews or assessments, followed by the hiring decision and offer, if you're selected.
Wonderful, that's really comprehensive. I feel much more informed and prepared now, thanks Anna.
I'm glad I could provide a thorough overview of the next steps. Please let me know if any other questions come up along the way.
Will do, I really appreciate you taking the time to walk me through this. It's super helpful to have this level of clarity.
Of course, I'm always happy to assist. Best of luck navigating the remainder of the hiring process. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, I really appreciate the support. Alright, I'm feeling motivated and ready to move forward.
Lesson 3: Planning a fun weekend getaway.
Hey Anna, I wanted to run something by you. What do you think about planning a little weekend getaway for us?
Ooh, a weekend getaway? That sounds amazing. Where did you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking we could drive up to that charming little town about 2 hours away. You know, the one with the adorable bed and breakfast.
Oh yes, I know the place. That would be perfect. What kind of activities did you have in mind for the trip?
I was thinking we could spend one day exploring the local shops and galleries, maybe even catch a concert in the town square.
That sounds right up our alley. And then what about the other day, any fun ideas there?
Well, I was hoping we could hike up to that scenic overlook and have a nice picnic lunch with a view.
Oh, a picnic with a view, how romantic. I love it. Is there anything else we might need to plan for?
Good question. We'll probably want to bring some cash for any shops or restaurants we visit.
Ah yes, excellent point. Carrying a bit of cash on hand is always a good idea for a weekend getaway.
Absolutely. And we should probably make sure to pack some comfortable walking shoes too.
For sure, don't want any blisters to ruin our hiking adventure. Anything else we should add to the packing list?
Maybe a portable phone charger, just in case we need to take lots of photos? And of course, don't forget swimsuits in case we want to take a dip.
Ooh, good call on the phone charger. And yes, the swimsuits are a must. Don't want to miss out on any opportunities to relax by the water.
Exactly. I'm getting so excited just thinking about it. This is going to be the perfect little weekend escape.
I agree, it sounds absolutely idyllic. I can't wait to disconnect from our normal routines and just enjoy each other's company.
Me neither. This is exactly the kind of mini vacation we need to recharge our batteries.
Absolutely. Alright, let's start nailing down some of the specifics. When did you have in mind for this getaway?
Well, I was thinking maybe next weekend would work best for both of our schedules.
Perfect, that gives us just enough time to get everything squared away. I'll mark it down in my calendar right now.
Wonderful. This is going to be so much fun. I can already picture us sipping wine on the porch of that cozy B&B.
Me too. And exploring the charming little shops, and soaking up the views from the top of that scenic overlook.
Exactly. Alright, let's start putting together a more detailed itinerary. I'm ready to make this weekend escape a reality.
Sounds good to me. I'm so excited to get planning. This is going to be the perfect little trip for us.
I couldn't agree more. Alright, let's do this. I can't wait to make some wonderful memories together.
Lesson 4, Exploring the complex character of Scrooge.
Hey Anna, I was reading the Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol, and I wanted to get your take on the character of Scrooge.
Ooh, Scrooge, that's an intriguing one. What aspects of his character stood out to you the most?
Well, I found it really interesting how he represents this sort of archetype of the cold, callous businessman who only cares about the bottom line.
Yes, absolutely. Scrooge is the quintessential embodiment of that type of heartless, profit-driven businessman.
Exactly. But at the same time, I feel like there are deeper layers to his character that make him more complex.
That's a good point. What do you think are some of those more nuanced aspects of Scrooge's personality?
Well, you get the sense that a lot of his behavior is rooted in some deep-seated emotional wounds or traumas from his past.
Ah, yes, the backstory that Dickens provides about Scrooge's lonely childhood and failed relationships really helps humanize him.
Definitely. There's a sadness and bitterness there that stems from those experiences, even if he tries to bury it under his gruff exterior.
Right, it's almost as if his miserly ways are a defense mechanism to protect himself from further hurt and disappointment.
Exactly, you've hit the nail on the head. And I think that's what makes his eventual transformation all the more powerful.
Absolutely. When the ghosts force him to confront those painful memories and emotions, it cracks open this window into his true, vulnerable self.
Definitely. And it shows how even the most hardened, cynical person can still have the capacity for change and redemption.
Exactly. Scrooge is such a complex, multi-layered character, a symbol of the problems of materialism and selfishness, but also a testament to the power of empathy and compassion.
Well said. Scrooge really encapsulates the duality of the human experience, the capacity for both cruelty and kindness.
Absolutely. It's a timeless tale that continues to resonate because Scrooge's journey speaks to something universal about the human condition.
Couldn't agree more. This discussion has really enhanced my appreciation for the depth and nuance of Scrooge's character. It's such a rich, layered story.
I'm so glad we got to explore it together. Dickens created such a captivating, multifaceted protagonist in Scrooge. There's always more to unpack.
Definitely. I feel like I could discuss the intricacies of Scrooge's character for hours. There's just so much there to dive into.
Absolutely. It's the mark of a truly great literary character, one that continues to fascinate and inspire analysis and interpretation.
Well said. Alright, I'm feeling inspired to go back and reread A Christmas Carol with a fresh perspective. Thanks for the engaging discussion, Anna.
Lesson 5: Tailoring Work Approaches to Team Dynamics.
Hey Anna, I wanted to get your thoughts on adapting our work styles to different team dynamics. What's your take on that?
That's a great question, John. I find that approach can really vary depending on the context and the needs of the team.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Can you give me an example of how you might adjust your style for different team dynamics?
Sure, let's see. For a more collaborative team that values open communication, I tend to be more engaged and interactive.
That's a good point. So you might be more inclined to bounce ideas off the group in that kind of setting?
Exactly. I find that fostering that back and forth dialogue can really help drive innovation and problem solving.
Interesting. And what about for a team that's a bit more independent or autonomous in their work?
Good question. In that case, I might be a bit more hands-off, providing clear guidelines and objectives, but giving them more autonomy.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense. Giving that independence and flexibility, but still keeping them on track.
Precisely. It's all about striking the right balance and adapting to what each team needs most.
Absolutely. And I imagine the communication style would shift as well, depending on the team dynamic.
Definitely. For a more autonomous group, I'd probably rely more on concise, written updates rather than constant check-ins.
That's a smart approach. Avoiding micromanagement and letting them do their thing.
Exactly. But then for a team that thrives on that face-to-face interaction, I'd be sure to schedule regular meetings and discussions.
Good call. Tailoring the communication methods based on what works best for the group.
Absolutely. It's all about being flexible and responsive to the unique needs of each team you're working with.
That makes total sense. I can see how that level of adaptability would be really beneficial.
Definitely. Being able to adjust your approach is crucial for maximizing productivity and morale across different teams.
Agreed. This is really valuable insight, Anna. I appreciate you breaking down those nuances for me.
Of course, I'm happy to share my perspective. Adapting your work style is an essential skill, especially in today's dynamic work environments.
Well said. I feel like I have a much clearer understanding of how to approach that now. This was a really helpful discussion.
I'm so glad I could provide some useful guidance. Navigating different team dynamics is an art, but an important one to master.
Absolutely. All right, I'm feeling inspired to put these principles into practice. Thanks again, Anna.
Lesson 6: Appreciating the Artistry of Oil Painting.
Hey Anna, I was hoping to pick your brain a bit about oil painting. My friend John has really gotten into it as a hobby, and I'm fascinated.
Oh, how interesting. I'd love to hear more about your friend John's passion for oil painting. What have you learned about it from him?
Well, for starters, he's really talented. He's even managed to sell a few of his pieces, which I think is just incredible.
Wow, that's amazing that he's found success with his oil paintings. What is it about the medium that he's particularly drawn to?
From what he's told me, he loves the rich, vibrant colors and the way the paint layers create such depth and texture on the canvas.
Ah yes, the versatility and expressiveness of oil paints is really captivating. I can see why he's so enamored with the process.
Definitely. And he's really taken the time to master the techniques, glazing, impasto, alla prima, all of it.
It sounds like he's put in a lot of dedication and practice to develop his skills. That kind of attention to detail is so admirable in any artistic pursuit.
Absolutely. He's even shown me some of his paintings, and I'm just in awe of the level of realism and emotion he's able to capture.
That's wonderful. Oil painting can be such a rewarding but also challenging medium. To be able to translate one's vision so vividly is a real feat.
I agree. He was telling me about how he spends hours meticulously blending colors and layering the paint to achieve those lifelike effects.
It's amazing the level of patience and focus that goes into creating a compelling oil painting. Each brushstroke has to be so intentional.
Definitely. And he's always experimenting with different techniques and subject matter, too. Keeps it fresh and exciting for him.
I love that sense of artistic exploration and evolution. It speaks to his passion for the craft and a genuine love of the process.
Absolutely. He's really inspired me to appreciate oil painting in a whole new way. I have a newfound respect for the artistry involved.
That's fantastic. Being able to share your friend's enthusiasm and insight has clearly deepened your own appreciation for the medium.
It really has. I almost wish I had that kind of artistic talent, but I'm just in awe of what he's able to create.
Well, even if you don't feel compelled to pick up a brush yourself, supporting and celebrating your friends' artistic pursuits is such a wonderful thing.
You're right, I'm just happy to be able to witness and encourage his creativity. It's been really rewarding to see him flourish with this hobby.
I'm sure he appreciates having you in his corner, cheering him on. Creative passions can be so fulfilling, but also vulnerable at times.
Definitely. I'm glad I can be that steadfast source of encouragement and appreciation for the hard work he's put in.
That's so thoughtful of you, John. Fostering that creative community and mutual support is truly priceless.
Absolutely. Alright, I'm feeling inspired to go check out his latest pieces. Thanks for the engaging chat, Anna.
Lesson 7: Embracing life's fleeting nature.
Hey Anna, I was reading this quote the other day that really struck a chord with me. It's about facing the end of one's life.
Oh, that's a heavy yet profound topic. What was the quote, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it was from Cardinal Bernardin, and he said, "It is wrong to waste the precious moments of one's life."
Wow, that's a powerful sentiment. What do you think he meant by that?
I think he's really getting at the fleeting nature of life and the importance of not taking our time for granted.
Yes, I can see that. There's such a poignancy and urgency to that perspective on mortality.
Exactly. He seems to be suggesting we should cherish each moment we have, rather than letting them slip away.
That's such a wise and sobering viewpoint. Facing our own mortality can really shift our priorities, can't it?
Definitely. It makes you realize how fragile and finite our time on this earth truly is.
It's a profound realization. And I imagine it would inspire one to live with more intention and purpose.
Absolutely. Not wasting those precious moments, as he says, but really making the most of them.
Yes, exactly. Leaning into experiences, relationships, and passions in a more deliberate, fulfilling way.
Precisely. It's a good reminder to not get bogged down in the trivial, but to focus on what truly matters.
Definitely. Facing one's mortality can really strip away the excess and help you hone in on your core values and priorities.
Agreed. And I think that kind of perspective shift can be so valuable, even for those of us not facing imminent death.
Absolutely. We can all benefit from reflecting on the fleeting nature of life and how we choose to spend our time.
Definitely. It encourages us to be more mindful, present, and intentional in our daily lives.
Exactly. It's a sobering yet empowering realization that we have this finite window, so we must make the most of it.
Well said. I really appreciate Cardinal Bernardin's words and the wisdom they impart. It's given me a lot to ponder.
Me too. It's the kind of insight that can really inspire us to live more purposefully and embrace each moment.
Absolutely. Alright, you've got me feeling inspired. I'm going to try to carry that mindset with me more intentionally.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Taking that quote to heart can be a powerful way to infuse more meaning and appreciation into our lives.
Definitely. Thanks for discussing this with me, Anna. It's been a thought-provoking and insightful conversation.
Lesson 8: Ordering room service like a pro.
Hey Anna, I was just looking over the room service menu here and everything sounds so mouth-watering. How do you usually go about ordering from room service?
Ooh, are you feeling peckish? Room service is one of my favorite perks when staying at a nice hotel. The key is to be efficient and specific with your order.
Ah, good to know. What tips do you have for placing a room service order that will get me the best results?
Well, first, I always make sure to have the menu handy and scan through it thoroughly to decide exactly what I want.
That makes sense. You don't want to be fumbling around trying to figure it out on the spot, right?
Exactly. And then when you call, be ready to clearly state your order, don't leave any room for ambiguity.
Got it. So I should have the item names, quantities, and any special requests ready to go, huh?
Precisely. That way the staff can process your order quickly and accurately. Plus, you'll get your food faster that way.
That's a great point. Efficiency is key when it comes to room service, I imagine.
Definitely. The quicker they can get your order in, the sooner you'll be enjoying a delicious hot meal.
Makes total sense. Anything else I should keep in mind when placing a room service order?
Well, it's always a good idea to tip the staff generously. They're bringing the food right to your door, after all.
Oh, good call. I wouldn't want to forget that. What's the typical tip amount for room service?
I usually do 20% of the total bill. It's their hard work that's delivering that tasty meal to you.
That's really helpful to know. Alright, I'm feeling prepared to order like a pro now.
Wonderful. Just remember, be polite, specific, and generous with your tip, and you'll be all set.
Excellent advice. Thanks so much, Anna. I'm about to get my order in, I'm starving.
Haha, enjoy your meal. Can't wait to hear how the room service experience turns out for you.
You know I will. Alright, wish me luck, I'm diving in.
Lesson 9: Exploring Antonyms, the building blocks of language.
Hey Anna, I was just thinking about antonyms and how they're such a crucial part of vocabulary building. What are your thoughts on the importance of learning opposites?
Ooh, that's a great question, John. Antonyms are absolutely essential for developing a rich, nuanced command of language.
Absolutely. Can you give me an example of how mastering antonyms can be beneficial?
Sure, let's use the example you mentioned, clean and dirty. Knowing that clean is the antonym of dirty is key for expressing precise meanings.
That's a perfect illustration. Being able to clearly articulate the opposite of a concept is so powerful.
Exactly. It allows you to paint a much more vivid and detailed picture, rather than relying on vague generalities.
Definitely. And I imagine it also helps with things like communicating instructions or directions more effectively.
Absolutely. Knowing antonyms can make your language more clear and unambiguous. It's integral to conveying meaning.
That's a great point. It almost acts as a safety net, ensuring your message is interpreted correctly.
Precisely. Mastering opposites is like having a toolkit of language building blocks at your disposal.
I like that analogy. It's like you're equipping yourself with a deeper, more nuanced vocabulary.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to simple adjectives like clean and dirty. Antonyms exist across all parts of speech.
Ooh, good point. So we're talking verbs, nouns, adverbs, the whole gamut of language, right?
Definitely. Being able to identify and utilize antonyms for words like increase/decrease, arrival/departure, cautiously/recklessly, that's where the real power lies.
That's really insightful. I can see how that kind of linguistic dexterity would be invaluable, especially in formal or professional settings.
Absolutely. Being able to seamlessly substitute antonyms allows you to communicate with greater precision and clarity.
I'm really starting to appreciate the significance of antonyms in a whole new way. This has been a fascinating discussion.
I'm so glad I could help shed some light on the importance of mastering opposites as part of language learning. It's a crucial, yet often overlooked area.
Definitely. I feel like I have a much stronger grasp on how antonyms contribute to building a robust, versatile vocabulary.
Wonderful. It's one of those fundamental building blocks that can truly elevate your command of the language when applied thoughtfully.
Well said. Alright, I'm feeling inspired to dive deeper into exploring antonyms. Thanks for the engaging chat, Anna.
Lesson 10: The benefits of face-to-face communication.
Hey Anna, I was thinking about how much we rely on virtual communication these days. But do you think there are still significant advantages to face interactions?
That's a great point, John. I definitely believe there are some key benefits to in-person communication that we shouldn't overlook.
Absolutely. What are some of the main advantages you see to having those face to face discussions?
Well, for one, being able to read each other's facial expressions and body language is invaluable.
Exactly. Those nonverbal cues can convey so much more than just the words themselves.
Precisely. It allows us to pick up on subtle nuances and really understand the full meaning behind what someone is saying.
That's a great point. It adds an extra layer of depth and authenticity to the interaction.
Definitely. And I find that face-to-face communication also tends to foster a stronger sense of connection and engagement.
I agree. There's something about being physically present with someone that feels more personal and meaningful.
Absolutely. It's easier to build rapport and really tune into each other when you're in the same space.
For sure. Plus, I find that in person conversations often feel more dynamic and spontaneous.
That's a great observation. There's a natural back and forth energy that can get lost in virtual interactions.
Exactly. It's easier to organic riff off each other and explore ideas in real time.
Definitely. And you can really feed off each other's energy and enthusiasm in a way that's harder to replicate online.
Couldn't agree more. I feel like face to face communication just brings a certain level of vibrancy and immediacy.
Absolutely. There's an undeniable richness to in person interactions that's hard to replicate through a screen.
Well said. I've definitely found myself missing that dynamic when I've had to resort to virtual meetings lately.
I can understand that. It's easy to take for granted the nuances and synergy we get from being physically present with someone.
Definitely. But I suppose the upside is that virtual options have allowed us to stay connected during challenging times.
That's true. They've served as a vital lifeline when in person contact hasn't been possible. But I do hope we don't lose sight of the value of face to face.
Agreed. It's all about finding that right balance and appreciating the unique strengths of each mode of communication.
Well said. Hybrid approaches that leverage the best of both virtual and in person interactions could be the sweet spot.
Absolutely. Maintaining that flexibility and adaptability is key, especially in our increasingly digital world.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about being intentional and strategic in how we utilize each communication channel.
Definitely. Alright, this has been a really insightful discussion. Lots of great food for thought here.
I'm so glad you found it valuable, John. Exploring the nuances of communication is endlessly fascinating to me.
Same here. Appreciate you taking the time to unpack this with me, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. I always enjoy our thought-provoking exchanges. Let me know if you ever want to dive deeper into this topic.
Will do, thanks Anna. Alright, I'm feeling inspired to put some of these ideas into practice. Catch you later.
Lesson 11, Tackling the Grocery and Toiletry Checklist.
Hey Anna, I was just making my grocery list for the week and realized we're also running low on some toiletry items. Do you have a few minutes to go over the full shopping list with me?
Of course, let's tackle this together. What kinds of groceries did you have in mind, and what toiletries do we need to pick up as well?
Okay, well, for the groceries, I was thinking we'd need the usual fresh produce, some protein like chicken or fish, and maybe a few pantry staples we're running low on.
Sounds good. And for the toiletries, what did you have in mind? I know we definitely need to restock on shampoo and toothpaste, as you mentioned.
Definitely those two. And maybe some other basic essentials like soap, deodorant, and toilet paper. We seem to go through that stuff pretty quickly.
Absolutely. It's always good to have a well-stocked supply of those kinds of everyday necessities, isn't it?
Absolutely. Do you have any recommendations on specific brands or products for the toiletries? I want to make sure we get good quality stuff.
Let me think. For the shampoo, I really like that organic, sulfate-free one we got last time. It left my hair feeling so soft and clean.
Oh, yes, I remember that one. Okay, I'll be sure to grab another bottle of that. What about toothpaste?
I'm a big fan of the natural whitening toothpaste from that eco-friendly brand. It really freshens your breath without all the harsh chemicals.
Wonderful, I'll add that to the list. And for the other toiletries, anything you prefer for the soap, deodorant, and toilet paper?
For the soap, I like the gentle, moisturizing bar soap. And for deodorant, the aluminum-free kind works great for me. As for toilet paper, let's just stick with the basic reliable brand we usually get.
Sounds good, I've got it all noted down. Okay, so for the groceries, beyond the fresh produce and proteins, what else should we be sure to pick up?
Well, we're probably running low on things like rice, pasta, canned beans, olive oil, the typical pantry staples we use a lot of.
Absolutely, great call. Gotta keep those kitchen essentials well stocked. Anything else we're forgetting?
Let me think. Oh, and we'll need to grab some fresh bread, maybe some yogurt or milk, and any snacks or treats we're craving this week.
Got it, I'll make sure to add all of that to the list. This is shaping up to be a pretty comprehensive grocery and toiletry run.
Definitely. It's always better to be thorough and not forget anything important, you know? Especially for our bigger shopping trips.
Completely agree. Alright, I think I've got everything we need written down. Thanks for going through this with me, Anna. I really appreciate you double checking the list.
Of course, happy to help. Making sure we have all our bases covered is key. Now let's go tackle that shopping trip together.
Sounds like a plan. Alright, let's do this. I'm ready to tackle the store armed with our detailed list.
Fantastic, let's get it done. This is going to be a super efficient and productive grocery run, I can feel it.
I'm feeling confident too. Alright, let's go conquer that shopping list.
Lesson 12, the iconic Black Power salute at the 1968 Olympics.
Hey Anna, I was reading about the iconic Black Power salute at the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City. Are you familiar with that historic moment?
Yes, I'm definitely aware of that powerful act of protest. It was such a poignant and defiant statement from those two athletes on the global stage.
Absolutely. Can you remind me of the details behind what happened there?
Well, it was during the medal ceremony for the 200-meter dash. The two American athletes, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, raised their black-gloved fists as they stood on the podium.
Ah, yes, that image is so seared into history. What was the significance of that gesture?
It was a symbol of Black power and the struggle for civil rights. Smith and Carlos were making a bold statement against racial injustice in the United States.
I see. So it was a political act rather than just a celebration of their athletic achievement.
Exactly. They were using their platform as Olympians to shine a spotlight on the ongoing fight for equality and human rights.
That takes a lot of courage and conviction, doesn't it? To make such a powerful political statement in that setting.
Definitely. They knew there would be backlash, but they felt compelled to use their moment in the spotlight for something greater than themselves.
And there certainly was a strong reaction, if I remember correctly. What happened in the aftermath of their protest?
Yes, they were immediately expelled from the Olympic Village and faced a lot of criticism and condemnation. But their act resonated with people around the world.
Wow, that must have been incredibly difficult for them to experience in that moment. But it clearly had a lasting impact.
Absolutely. Their defiant gesture became an iconic image of the civil rights movement. It was a seminal moment of protest on the global stage.
I can see why it's considered such a powerful and important part of Olympic and civil rights history. The bravery of those athletes is really inspiring.
Definitely. They put everything on the line to make their voices heard and draw attention to the ongoing struggles of the Black community.
It's a great reminder of the ways athletes can use their platform for social and political change, even in the midst of competition.
Exactly. They showed that the Olympics aren't just about sports, they're also a stage for making powerful, revolutionary statements.
Well said. This has been a really illuminating conversation. I'm grateful to have learned more about this historic moment.
Me too. It's an important part of history that I think is crucial for people to understand, especially in the context of the ongoing fight for racial justice.
Absolutely. Discussions like this can really help bring these pivotal events to life and appreciate their lasting significance.
Definitely. Thanks for engaging with me on this topic, John. I always enjoy delving into these meaningful discussions with you.
The pleasure is all mine, Anna. I feel like I have a much richer understanding of the Black Power salute at the 1968 Olympics now.
Wonderful, I'm so glad I could provide some helpful context and insights. It's an inspiring moment worth remembering and reflecting on.
Agreed. Alright, I'm feeling motivated to go do some more reading on this topic. Thanks again for the great chat.
Lesson 13, Weighing the Walk versus Taking a Taxi.
Hey Anna, I'm trying to decide the best way to get to the event tonight. Do you think I should walk or take a taxi?
That's a good question. How far away is the event location from where you're starting?
According to the map, it's only about a 15 to 20-minute walk. So it's definitely within walkable distance.
Okay, I see. In that case, I'd probably recommend just walking if you have the time and energy for it.
You think walking is the better option over taking a taxi? What are the advantages of walking in this situation?
Well, for one, walking is free. You'll save the money you'd spend on a taxi fare.
Good point. And what other benefits might there be to walking instead of driving?
It's also better for the environment, since you won't be burning any fossil fuels. And it's good exercise too.
Ah, yes, the health and sustainability factors are important to consider as well. You make a compelling case for walking.
Exactly. Unless you're really pressed for time or the weather is terrible, walking is often the smarter choice, especially for a relatively short distance.
That's true. I do have plenty of time to get there, and the forecast looks nice. Alright, I think you've convinced me, I'll plan to walk.
Wonderful. I'm sure you'll enjoy the stroll and arrive at the event feeling refreshed and energized.
I think you're right. Plus, it'll give me a chance to clear my head a bit before the event starts.
Absolutely. A little pre-event exercise and alone time can be really beneficial, both physically and mentally.
Great point. Alright, I'm all set then. Walking it is. Thanks for helping me think this through, Anna.
Of course, I'm happy I could provide a helpful perspective. Enjoy your walk and have a wonderful time at the event.
I will, thanks so much. Alright, time to get my steps in. Catch you later.
Sounds good, take care. Let me know how the event goes afterwards.
Will do, talk to you soon.
Lesson 14, Answering the Call to Heal Divisions.
Hey Anna, I was reading this quote about the call to be repairers of the breach and help move America forward. What are your thoughts on that idea?
Ah, yes, that's a powerful and inspiring sentiment. I think it speaks to the important role we all have in helping to heal the divisions and restore unity in our society.
Definitely. The language of repairers of the breach is really striking. What do you think it means to take on that kind of responsibility?
Well, I see it as a call to action, to not just bemoan the problems and divisions, but to actively work towards reconciliation and progress.
That's a great point. It's about transitioning from simply deploring the issues to taking concrete steps to address them.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just criticizing or condemning, and instead rolling up our sleeves to help bridge the gaps and find solutions.
I like that framing a lot. It puts the onus on us as citizens to be proactive in driving positive change.
Absolutely. It's about each of us doing our part, rather than just expecting or waiting for someone else to fix things.
That resonates with me. We all have a responsibility to contribute to the greater mission of advancing America.
Precisely. And I think that America's mission that the quote refers to is really about upholding the core values of equality, justice, and unity.
Yes, absolutely. Restoring that sense of shared purpose and ideals, even in the face of division.
Definitely. It's about rededicating ourselves to the founding principles that are meant to unite us as a nation.
Well said. This idea of being repairers of the breach feels like a really empowering call to action.
I agree. It challenges us to step up and play an active role in mending the rifts, rather than just passively observing them.
Exactly. It's about transforming our frustration and concern into tangible, constructive efforts.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of engaged, solution oriented mindset is essential if we want to truly move the country forward.
Couldn't agree more. This has been a really thought provoking discussion. Lots of great insights to reflect on.
I'm so glad you found it meaningful, John. Exploring ways we can each contribute to positive change is something I'm quite passionate about.
I can tell, and I really appreciate you sharing your perspective with me. It's given me a lot to ponder.
Wonderful, I'm happy I could provide some helpful food for thought. Let me know if you ever want to dive deeper into this topic.
Will do, thanks, Anna. Alright, time for me to put some of these ideas into practice. Talk to you soon.
Lesson 15: The Joys of Homegrown Produce.
Hey Anna, I was thinking about starting a small vegetable garden at home. What are your thoughts on growing your own produce?
Oh, I think that's a wonderful idea, John. Homegrown fruits and veggies can be so rewarding.
Really? What are some of the main benefits you see to growing your own produce?
Well, for one, it's a great way to save money compared to constantly buying produce from the store.
Ah, yes, that's a really good point. Growing them at home can definitely be more cost effective.
Absolutely. And you get the added bonus of knowing exactly what's gone into growing your food, no mystery ingredients.
That's true. It's nice to have that level of control and transparency over the whole process.
Definitely. Plus, there's just something so satisfying about nurturing your own little garden and watching it thrive.
I can imagine. It must be really fulfilling to enjoy the fruits of your own labor, literally.
Exactly. And the produce always tastes so much more fresh and flavorful when it's homegrown.
That's a great point. I bet you get a much richer, more vibrant taste compared to store bought.
Absolutely. There's just no comparison when it comes to the flavor and quality. It's like night and day.
Wow, you're really selling me on this idea. Any other benefits to growing your own produce that I should know about?
Well, it can also be a really therapeutic and enjoyable hobby. A great way to get outside, connect with nature, and stay active.
Ah, yes, the mental and physical health perks are important too. I like the idea of it being a relaxing, productive activity.
Exactly. And you can get the whole family involved, making it a fun, bonding experience as well.
That's a wonderful point. It could be a great way to get the kids engaged and teach them about where their food comes from.
Definitely. It's such a valuable life skill and appreciation to instill in the next generation.
I agree completely. Alright, you've totally convinced me. I'm definitely going to look into starting a little home garden now.
Fantastic. I'm so excited for you, John. Let me know if you need any tips or advice as you get it set up.
Will do, thanks Anna. I really appreciate you taking the time to walk me through all the benefits. This has been super helpful.
Of course, I'm happy I could provide some useful perspective. Gardening is a passion of mine, so I'm always eager to share the joys of it.
I can tell. Alright, time for me to start researching the best plants and techniques. This is going to be great.
I know you're going to do an amazing job. Can't wait to see your homegrown bounty soon.
Me neither, thanks again Anna. Alright, time to dive in and get planting.